it was I had a really interesting thought today,
Okay.
and you tell me if this makes sense to you.
Shoot.
Women have became the depraved perverts mostly.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you think about it,
they're
like
they're they're liberated to do so, in other words.
well, no, I'm not saying they're more liberated. I'm saying they actually are doing it. They're not just liberated to do it. They're actually, if you go on Instagram right now,
Uh-huh. Soft porn. Yeah.
it- well, it's crazy.
Yeah. Soft porn. That's what most of that stuff is.
Yeah, and it's young girls from 13 years old on up to 60, and
Right.
they're all wearing the smallest, tightest stuff, and they're all shaking their bodies, and they're pulling their fucking yoga pants up between their legs to give themselves to show off their camel toes. And now there's this new thing because they passed a rule that said you can show breasts if you're breastfeeding, right?
Okay.
So these OnlyFan hoes, right?
Bringing their oh,
No, some of them have. I've actually seen yes, like their
oh,
baby on. But a lot of them, what they've done is they go out and they buy these baby dolls, and they pull their boobs out, and then they stick the fake plastic baby doll in front of one of them like they're breastfeeding, just so they can have their titty out.
dude.
That how fucked up is that?
I
Because
Who
they know
wants
it's
to
going to
see
drive
that?
them.
Like, how hard up do you have to be in this day and age that you're looking at TikTok videos to watch a woman breastfeed a
Well,
fake
let's be
baby
clear. Let's be clear. Well, I don't go on TikTok.
or whatever it
This
is?
is Instagram, and
I'm
I'm
sorry,
forced
Instagram.
into it. I go to scroll through the things that I follow, and it's like something I follow, 23 pictures of women with their tits out and young girls, really young girls, inappropriately young girls. Like
Yeah.
like young teens, dude. It's not I don't like it. It makes me feel weird. I don't fucking like that shit.
Well, I guess what that didn't really change much of my take. So what I was saying there was that didn't change my
Hoes,
take too
all
much.
hoes.
Yes. So what I mean by that is like the women's lib movement has now, like, I think in today's society, women have been more, and when I mean liberated, what I mean by that is unstigmatized by society to act like fucking hoes. Now, whether or not their mentality has changed with that over time, I don't know. But I will say you're right. It's all over the place, and I think it has a lot to do with nobody. You can't slut shame, and it's like, well, maybe you can't, but I can. It's like
Yeah, I absolutely can.
right, and it's. I think that has a lot to do with it. Is now, so for example, if a guy does something like that, it's creepy and weird and fucked up, and it is. I would just argue that it's just as creepy and weird and fucked up when a woman does it too. It's just that society has a double standard for that type of thing. You know,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, you think about like somebody like somebody I know used to the Jason Momoa guy, the actor,
Yep.
Aquaman.
Yep.
She would always post a picture of him with his shirt off every Wednesday and be like, "Happy Hump Day," you know what I mean?
Right.
And I just remember seeing that. Not that I really care that they were doing that. That's not what I'm saying. But I thought of for some reason it made me think this at the time, and I remember thinking, how would these people be reacting if I posted a picture of Margot Robbie in a bikini every Wednesday and said "Happy Hump Day"? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't care, but I would argue the person that was doing this and all the people that are liking what this person posted, if I were to do something like that, they would be like, "You're fucking weird."
Yeah.
Like, how does your wife feel about that? How could you do that? Blah blah blah. And this person was married, by the way. They used to do this also, but nobody cares how the husband feels about it. Nobody cares that she's doing it. It would be a double standard if a guy were doing it, and a
Right.
married guy at that. It would be even more stigmatized.
It's
I don't know.
I don't know, man. The reason I thought that is because everywhere I go and everything I see, whether it's out in the real world or on the online world, it's just these girls are all acting like hoes, dude.
Yeah,
Every one of them, shake it, dance it. That number one, none of them can
young
dance.
young girls.
They do these retarded thing. I'm like, what are you doing? You look retarded.
I'm glad I'm not on Instagram. I miss all that fun stuff.
Dude, what's really sad is Instagram is a mixed bag of two things, right? One of them is some of the funniest fucking memes and short videos and stuff you'll ever see in your life. Like, dude, I have belly laughed. Like, laid in my bed late at night while I'm scrolling through and fucking belly laughed. Hell, you know Porter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Porter and me, that's one of our main forms of communication is just sending memes back and forth on Instagram, right? And so I'm literally sat there and died laughing at videos, right?
So you're
And
torn.
what? Yeah,
You're
well, no,
torn.
yeah, because when it's either that or
Or
just
boobies.
absolute, like, listen, and nobody likes looking at it more than me, but at some point in time, I need a break. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine if I was like 17 or 18 years old and this was constantly in my face, dude. I don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
I'm doing.
It,
I'd be nuts. I'd be fucking nuts, dude. I'd have my penis out everywhere. It's a real, it's a
you'd look
real
like
thing.
Butters in that episode where they got the porn from their parents and Butters watched it because they
Oh
thought it
my
was Lord of
god,
the Rings. You ever see that one?
dude.
But
Listen,
my
the thing,
precious.
dude, it's so fucked up. These kids, what they must be going through. Like, it's so lucky for them that the government has been making sure that their testosterone levels are low
Right.
by pumping fluoride in the water. No, sorry, I had to go my Alex Jones.
Yeah.
But no,
That's a great
seriously,
movie.
like, I can't believe like just how it's everywhere. I just can't believe it. It's everywhere. It's inescapable.
It's progressively gotten worse as we've gotten older. I mean, I mean, it's hard to remember, but like, imagine back in the 80s, like, you didn't, like, if you watch old shows or commercials, there was some stuff like that there, but it's nothing like it is now. And it just got the stuff that you're talking about that you see now that's just readily available to just the general public's consumption would
Yes.
have been considered pornography back then and been like you would have to pay extra money for the Skinamax part of that channel. You know what I mean? To
Sure,
see
sure,
something like
sure.
that. You know what I mean? They'd have stuff like
Here's
that on
here's something I can look at sociologically, right?
there. Hmm.
So when we were growing up, if you went, you know the North Beach, you know what I'm talking about when I say North?
Yep.
Okay. So North Beach, it was against the law to wear a thong bathing suit there. All right. There was
That
a there was a
that
there was a
wasn't even the 80s, was it? That
that was
was
in the
like
90s.
I was gonna say that's the 90s. I remember
That's what
that.
this is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm saying the 90s, not even the 80s, the 90s. There
Right.
was a county ordinance that said you couldn't do it because it was indecent exposure.
Right.
Right? They didn't want to see anybody's ass hanging out.
Right.
If you go to that beach right now,
It's everywhere.
that's all you see. And the girls are 10, 12, 13 years old. And then
Not
there's
my kid.
all these other ones. And then you'll see like this hot 50-year-old, 55-year-old woman out there sporting it. And it's just so pervasive. It's like, now listen, I don't think that that's the end of the world. Okay. I mean, thong bikinis are fine with me. But what I'm saying is if there's any kind of measure to society's slide, you know, if
Hmm.
you look at something like that, you're like, okay, so back in the day, people would never even dream of this. Now, meanwhile, I just read a story where someone, I don't know if it was in California or here, the parent got arrested because there was a 4-year-old girl running around in just bikini bottoms. She didn't have a bikini top on.
They
It's
arrest in California. They
They arrested
arrested the
the
mother.
parents. Mhm.
Hmm.
Because it was indecent exposure of their children. And I'm thinking to
Hmm.
myself, wait a second, dude.
Yeah, I don't know about.
In almost 50 years of going to the beach, I have seen, I don't know, and public pools and everywhere else. I have seen countless little girls like that with just they don't have any titties.
Yeah.
There's nothing to cover up. They're little babies. It's just bizarre. What are we supposed to put bikini top on a baby? I mean, first of all, I'm not crazy about really young girls in two pieces anyways.
No, not that. Well, it depends what age. I mean, when they're little girls, like, yeah, why? That's yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, but if she's 3, I don't see a problem with it.
Right, that's what I mean. That's there's like an age where it's appropriate, and then it becomes unappropriate again
Yes, 3 to
at some point,
when
right?
they hit like
You know what I
5
mean? For
when they hit
lack
like
of a
5 or
better
6,
word
you gotta put them in a one piece,
or a better saying. Yeah, right, right.
you know?
Like I said, there's a time when it's appropriate and cute, and then there's a time where it starts to become inappropriate with age,
Yes,
and then it becomes
inappropriate.
appropriate again
Yeah.
with age, depending on the age. It's all about that age.
Right, and people like what's crazy is you'll hear a lot of arguments people say like, "Well, you're an adult, you'd go to a nude beach. Yeah, but I don't want kids
I
there.
wouldn't bring my kid there.
And if there was kids at the nude beach I went to, I'd leave because
Yeah,
I'd
it'd
have
be
to
weird.
ask myself, why do adults want to be around nude children?
Why do the adults want to be nude around children?
They're like,
I,
oh, it's nature. No, it's perverse.
yeah, it's not.
It's perverse. You wanna
Well,
run around barley bare ass with a bunch of your friends on the beach, go for it. I'm not fucking it's your fucking world. Fly your freak flag if you want, but leave the fucking kids out of it, man.
well, that goes back to what you're saying with the whole why women are doing what they're doing. It's because society and here in America has gotten to the point where they've decided that anything goes,
Yeah.
and the lines of what's right and wrong, what's ethical, what's moral, is just completely evaporating. Like they just say anything goes. You can do anything. You can be anything. No more shaming anyone. In fact, the opposite is if you are a straight man, a white persuasion, who works a full time job and supports a family and has a wife who stays home and takes care of the kids, you're the freak. They're
Yeah.
looking at you like you're a bad person, like you're doing something wrong, like
You're
you've
the
done
problem.
you're the part. Yes, you're part of the problem, and it's like I'm pretty sure I'm part of what makes society run, and you're kind of just floating along out there on life's little stream and not with no
Dude,
direction.
like I've
Yeah,
said a million times, when you gotta normalize something, it means what?
it wasn't normal to begin with.
Fucking A right. You
Yeah,
don't have to normalize the normal. That just comes with the territory.